My name is Jenny, and I'm a wife and mom raising 2 kids. But I used to live a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I said goodbye to TV and hello to motherhood, I suddenly discovered what we moms are up against. We live in a world that tells us to be rich and famous, thin and successful. You know, almost nobody says, "Oh, hey, you're a mom? That's fabulous." But you are fabulous, and I'm here to tell you why.
It's the Channelmom Show, celebrating you with Jenny Dean Schmidt.
Okay, if you're a mom who is worried, stressed out, or exhausted, this next guest can offer you some peace and a little laughter. Deborah Cody is the author of 9 books, including a number of self-help books, including Mom Needs Chocolate. That's a good one. And Too Blessed to Be Stressed, which I have right here in the studio, and I'll show that to the camera. In her latest book, Deborah offers simple, practical steps for attaining the peace that you crave. And I know most moms do crave that peace as you struggle with the stresses of finances, health, career, relationships, self-image, and family, and the list goes on. You'll discover healing, refreshment, revitalization for your own spirit, body, and mind through heart-changing, real-life stories and some fabulous advice. So, Deborah, we've set you up, girl. You need to offer all kinds of stuff to us today. How are you?
Hi, Jenny. I'm doing great.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Tell us, because you and I had this conversation when I pre-interviewed you, why do you write books for women, and particularly in some cases for moms, and what do you want to do for women who are listening today? What is it that you hope and pray will get through to them that will make their day better?
Well, my goal from writing, I've been writing about 8.5 years now, and it's just been an amazing journey. It's not something I intended to do. It's something that I kind of fell into.
Okay.
But I've been writing to try to engage us women in a camaraderie so that we can realize that we are a frazzled sisterhood who can make it through this tunnel together, this tunnel of motherhood, if we join hands and we help each other and we support each other. And that's pretty much the premise behind most of my books.
Okay. And don't you think, for whatever mom's listening today, I so badly want to just reach her where she's at, and if she's in the car or if she happens to be listening to it online, I think, oh, dear Lord, please just help me to have either myself or the guest say the very thing that she needs to hear today. But don't you think so many moms now live in little islands, and that the setup of our culture is such that, we don't meet together to do the quilts or to shuck the corn or to work in the fields or whatever it was for the past however many centuries? Don't you think that we're kind of isolated in a way we didn't used to be?
Oh, that is so true. And I think it's, to borrow a phrase, the tyranny of the urgent that's really gotten us. We have so many things that we have to do that we don't have that time to put into developing girlfriendships or even to get together to face the trials that we have together. We're overly extended. We've just got overly engaged kids. We're high-achieving women in the workplace. We're wives who strive for that ever-elusive perfectionism in our homes and our families. And many of us are believers for whom somehow tireless service has become our badge of faithfulness, that we have to do in God's name, and therefore we feel like that is proving our faithfulness.
Yeah. And then nothing gets done really well, and we don't get to enjoy our children, our husbands, our lives, or even if we're single moms, we just don't get to enjoy the things that we should be enjoying because we're constantly doing the next thing,
Absolutely. Yes.
You're very funny, and I don't even remember why you told this story, but I just want you to get to it. It was the story, and you'll know why, and I'm sure you'll make the point to moms about something to do with grabbing a little bit of joy with your girlfriend. Speaking of trying to build friendships with girlfriends, and you guys were visiting a church, and you had a little morsel in your purse. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, that was one of those moments that, one of the things that I really truly believe is that humor is the catalyst that releases the joy into our souls. And so we kind of have to look for the humor in situations, however horrible they may be at the moment, and that was one of those. I was having a girlfriend getaway, and we were up in the mountains in the Smokies, and it was just my friend Cheryl and I, and we stopped into this little country church and on a Sunday morning, and as we were getting out of the parking lot going in, I was digging through my purse for something else, and I found, a treasure. It was this little chocolate-covered mint that had been in there only a couple of months, so I kind of picked the lid off of it, and, wow, I was so excited. So I stuck it in my mouth, we went in the church, and all these lovely people who didn't know us at all were greeting us and smiling and welcoming us. So I was smiling back and being, a little Southern friendly girl that I am, and people kind of looked weird at me, and I noticed a lot of eyes suddenly started studying their shoes, and I thought, well, that's funny, and so we went in and we sat down, and the service was about to begin, and my friend Cheryl turned to me to say something, and I smiled back, and she went, Deb, what is wrong with your teeth? They're black. And I realized I had my invisible braces, which are plates, clear plates.
Uh-huh.
The chocolate must have eked down in there, and it was totally stained my plates, and so my teeth looked like I was, and there was nothing I could do about it. And the service started, and I kind of, during the first prayer, I tried to slip them out and tried to, spit into the, into the plates and use my blouse, the bottom of my blouse, to try to clean them out, but I ended up looking like my teeth were outlined with Sharpies, and there's nothing I could do but smile about it.
Yeah, what color was the blouse that you were...
Well, thankfully I used the bottom side of the blouse so it didn't show, but, oh, man, it was one of those awful things.
Yeah, that's kind of gross, actually.
I have one other really good church story that for moms would really identify with this, that, we just have to look for the humor, even in the embarrassing times. When my daughter was 8, we were going to a small church, and we didn't have children's church at that time. So she went in, when they were about 6, they would go into big church with the mommies and daddies. Well, she was having a hard time listening to the pastor at that time, and so I gave her this little lecture on the way to church about listening, that you don't have to doodle on your bulletin and, pick your nose and do all the things that kids do. Listen. So we get there, and we had a visiting minister. And during the offertory, he lifted his arms into the air with his pious way, and he said, Lord, without you, we are but dust. And my little girl, who was listening, piped up in her little girl voice for everyone to hear and said, Mommy, what is butt dust?
That's awesome. I'd like to go to church with you sometime, Deborah. I really would. And what I think one of the things that made me laugh the loudest about what your friend said, didn't she turn to you and say something like, you look scary?
Yes, exactly, yes. Which is not unusual for me. I often look scary, but, I have this chia pet hair that won't stop.
Well,
living here in Florida, it stays that way with the humidity. But
yeah, you are not getting hit by the hurricane, I take it.
No, thank the good Lord for that, and I'm praying for all those people up north of us who are.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, we are talking to Deborah Cody, the author of Too Blessed to Be Stressed, A Mom Needs Chocolate, and a number of other books. You are a mother and a grandmother, and you do offer great advice, Deborah. How can moms get to that humorous point? I mean, I think I've asked other guests about this too, that I find myself in that place where I'm sorry, I'm exhausted, and I'm feeling sorry for myself, and I'm mad, and I'm bitter, and it almost feels good to feel bad for myself. Yeah. What are the things that you can recommend? Because I know you've got some stress busters. In fact, let's just pitch this right out there. You do have 2-minute stress buster videos, right? About 10 of them on your website?
Yes, I do. We're going to have a dozen in the end, but right now we have about half of those posted at DeborahCody.com, and that's spelled a little bit unusual. It's DeBoraCoty. Okay. And just click on Stress Busters when you get there, and they're little gems right out of the book, Too Blessed to Be Stressed.
Okay.
And hopefully they're short and sweet. They're only 2 minutes long, and hopefully they'll help give women a little boost during the day. But
absolutely.
I kind of view us as having the problem with calendar constipation. That's kind of gross, but that's the phrase that I use because it's so true when we get so busy and all those little squares on our calendars get clogged and blocked. And, we've got to do something about that. That, to me, is the only way we're going to find some kind of white space, I call it, which is a writer term, which when we're writing, we try to value that white space on the page where it's not totally clogged up with little black letters. And that makes it unfriendly and just intimidating to the reader to look at a page that doesn't have much white space. And I think that's the same way with our lives.
Yeah,
we need a little white space.
Amen, girl. I mean, that it is dreary when you have a constantly filled calendar.
Yes, and of course, the only way to help a constipated calendar is with an activities enema. And to do that, we have to sit down and analyze. We have to spend a little time trying to decide what are our top 3 or 4 priorities. And those are the things that we need to list, and I have mine stuck to my mirror so that I can refer back. Whenever a new activity approaches me, I have to say, let me look at my priority list and see if it fits in with those 3 or 4 activities, or rather priorities, that I need to focus on at this point in my life.
Oh, I love that. And we can do that with any given thing, like what are our 3 priorities with our children or our marriage or our work. So Shelley, our videographer, Shelley's here. She wants a question. She has a question related to it.
Sure.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi.
So my question is, what if it's the activity for your kids?
I'm sorry, if it's an activity a new activity that's trying
for your children, because I feel like for me, I can get the white space that I need.
Oh.
But the thing is now with the 3 kids, when they have too much white space, it becomes an issue.
That's true. That's true. It's a balance that I think each of us has to think about and pray about. And, I know my kids were both involved in sports, and that included, one was baseball, one was gymnastics. That included practices and games, and it was getting to be just about every day of the week. And we had to finally, I could not do it. And even though it was, to a point, good for them, I had to sit down and say, okay, we have to have limits. We have to have some kind of boundaries so that, if mom ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And so we've got to somehow figure out how this works. And they also had their priorities. I had them list theirs. And sometimes, it's so tempting to just get in, to put your feelers out into way, way too much ground. And you just, you just spread too thin.
Yeah.
And so it's a way to kind of add a little limitation to their activities and yours so that you can have time together. And I think that's one of the things that somehow gets shuffled under the rug is that family time, that needs to be a priority for kids as well as the parents.
It does, and I do like the suggestion, Shell, that we sit down with our kids. I don't think I've ever done that.
I haven't either. What's your priority here?
Yeah, and said to my kids, what are the things that matter to you most? And of course, I'll give them a few hints. I'll give them remember what comes first: family, God. God, family. However you want to put it. But yeah, wouldn't that be a great thing for them to sit down and write a list?
To decide.
And then when they get 12,000 invitations that week, to say, okay, let's go to the priority list, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're teaching them life skills, too, for the rest of their life. Then they're going to have that tucked under their belt. They're going to understand how to prioritize and how to, when that happens as an adult, they're going to have lots of experience with it already.
Absolutely. I love it. We're going to come right back with you, Deborah. Can you stick around?
Sure.
Okay. You are listening to the Channel Mom Show, where we're celebrating you on Mile High Sports AM 1510, FM 93.7. I am your host, Jenny Dean Schmidt. And next, Deborah is going to come back with some very effective ways to get rid of our mental, physical stress and negative self-talk. I like that. Plus, I'm going to ask her about those preteen and teenage boys who begin to shut their moms out of their lives. Ugh. Come right back and join us with Deborah.